The T-Veronica virus has emerged as one of the most peculiar and fascinating variants in the Resident Evil universe. Unlike more conventional strains, such as the T virus or the G virus, this biological agent acts as a midpoint that aims to stop the cellular decomposition caused by T and the uncontrolled mutations caused by G in infected hosts. Its creator, the brilliant Dr. Alexia Ashford, also had a very specific goal: to design a strain that would preserve the intelligence and cognitive functions of those infected. This is the third video in my series about the Resident Evil viruses, in which I have already explored two of the most iconic ones. In this installment, we will explore the complete history of the T-Veronica virus, covering its origins within the Ashford family, its ties to the Progenitor Virus, its mutation traits, the key incidents in which it was involved, and its subsequent legacy. To truly understand the T-Veronica virus, we must first delve into the history of the Ashfords, an ancient British aristocratic family with a deep obsession for science and genetics. This family played a crucial role in founding the Umbrella Corporation. As one of its members, the renowned virologist Dr. Edward Ashford co-founded it alongside Oswell E. Spencer and James Marcus. The first significant step toward developing the T-Veronica virus dates back to Alexander Ashford, Edward's son and heir to Umbrella's facilities in Antarctica. Although Alexander did not possess a remarkable intellect, especially compared to other scientists in the corporation, he spent many years researching the Progenitor Virus. The Progenitor Virus was the biological predecessor from which many other bioorganic weapons would emerge. However, Alexander yearned for more. He wanted to restore the Ashford family's former glory, as they had lost prestige over the generations. He dreamed of emulating the legendary Veronica Ashford, a 19th century matriarch known for her extraordinary intelligence. To achieve this, Alexander turned to genetic engineering and decided to combine his own DNA with Veronica's, also introducing a gene related to intelligence that he had discovered. The result of this experiment was the birth of twins, Alfred and Alexia. While Alfred proved to be only slightly more intelligent than average, Alexia displayed a nearly unmatched genius. By the age of 10, she had already become the lead researcher at Umbrella's Antarctic Base. This put Alexander in a difficult position, since he knew that his family was unaware of the true nature of the twins' conception and feared the consequences if the unethical methods behind their creation were ever discovered. Within her intense research activities, Alexia discovered an unusual retrovirus in the DNA of certain queen ants. Fascinated by the social structure of these colonies, where the queens seemed to rule with absolute devotion from her worker ants, Alexia wanted to replicate this power dynamic within herself. This is where the megalomaniac obsession that would later define her began to develop. Dr. Ashford then decided that the Progenitor Virus could be combined with this ant retrovirus to create a new pathogen with unique capabilities. In the final formula, Alexia also incorporated DNA from certain plants, hoping their properties would improve stability or provide favorable mutations. After multiple experiments, she created a stable variant and named it T-Veronica, as a tribute to Veronica Ashford. The first tests of the T-Veronica virus were disastrous. Alexander became the first human victim of his children's scientific arrogance when he was captured and infected with the virus in 1982. They expected the infection to grant him exceptional power and intelligence, but the result was a spectacular failure. Poor Alexander experienced catastrophic physical and mental deterioration, transforming into a monstrous being with no trace of rational thought. The twins chained him up and hid him deep within the Antarctic base, calling him Nosferatu. This failure showed that T-Veronica could be extremely unstable, and that a rapid infection would inevitably lead to madness and deformity. Concerned by these results, Alexia carefully analyzed her father's case and concluded that the only way to control T-Veronica's development in a human host was to slow the infection to an extreme degree. The young doctor devised a plan. She would infect herself and then enter a state of cryopreservation for 15 years. According to her theory, the virus would spread so slowly that the body could adapt over time, avoiding a violent degeneration. At just 12 years old, Alexia decided to become the ultimate test subject for her own virus. Determined to avoid becoming another Nosferatu, she asked Alfred to protect her and to oversee the Antarctic base while she remained in cryogenic suspension. She left him clear instructions for her eventual awakening in the distant future. He was to wait exactly 15 years before reviving her. By that time, Alfred was completely emotionally and psychologically dependent on his sister. He saw her as the pinnacle of the Ashford family and obeyed her every command. This dynamic became increasingly disturbing as the young man developed a severe multiple personality disorder, occasionally assuming Alexia's identity and even dressing as her to fill the void left by her absence. In this way, the seed of the T-Veronica virus was literally planted within Alexia's body. From that moment on, the virus remained dormant inside her, waiting for the long hibernation period to end. During 1998, a year infamously known in the history of Umbrella and Resident Evil, the mysterious Albert Wesker heard rumors about a new special virus that could preserve the host's intelligence after infection. Now allied with a rival company known as HCF and equipped with his own physical enhancements, Wesker decided to attack Rockford Island, the base belonging to Alfred. On Rockford Island, a devastating outbreak of the T-Virus occurred, releasing zombies and other bioorganic weapons throughout the area, marking the beginning of the events in Code Veronica. Claire Redfield and Steve Burnside, prisoners on the island, took advantage of the chaos to escape. Realizing the danger, Alfred fled to the Antarctic Base to check on his sister's condition. Meanwhile, Wesker realized that he would not find Alexia or the valuable T-Veronica virus on Rockford, so he set out for Antarctica himself. After exactly 15 years of cryogenic sleep, Alexia awakened at the end of 1998. The first thing she saw was her brother, dying from a fatal wound inflicted by Steve. With his last breath, Alfred managed to activate the thawing process. Thus, Alexia emerged as the perfect host for the T-Veronica virus. In a fit of rage at seeing the harm done to Alfred, Alexia unleashed her powers, which allowed her to control giant tentacles hidden beneath the base. She used them to dominate the fight against Claire and Steve. She then infected Steve with the T-Veronica virus, intending to see if a host could adapt without the long hibernation period. Unfortunately, Steve underwent uncontrollable and rapid mutations, but in a touching moment, he regained his senses just long enough to save Claire's life before dying from his severe injuries. Then Chris Redfield arrived looking for Claire and found Wesker overwhelmed by Alexia's immense power. They both realized that she possessed superhuman abilities and a strange power to turn her blood into a flammable substance, which she could shoot as a projectile. In addition to her strength, she could transform into increasingly powerful and twisted forms, combining humanoid appearances with insect and plant-like features. After several confrontations, Chris used an experimental weapon called the linear launcher, which was designed long ago by Alexander Ashford himself as a safeguard in case his daughter ever lost control. Using this weapon, Chris delivered the final blow to Alexia. She died in the Antarctic Base, ending her reign, and with it, the Ashford family as it was known. It is worth noting that although Alexia was defeated, Wesker managed to obtain a sample of the T-Veronica virus from the remains of Steve Burnside. This way, the virus was not lost and continued to exist within the black market of bioorganic weapons. Through this, in 2001, scientist Carla Radames, who was connected to the secret organization known as The Family, considered using this strain to develop what she called the perfect virus. At first, Carla dismissed T-Veronica as obsolete because of its major limitations, including the need for a long hibernation period or complicated organ replacement methods. However, Carla continued her research and removed parts of the genome that caused extreme mutations or rapid mental degeneration. By combining T-Veronica with selected elements from the Progenitor Virus, she created a derivative called T02. This new virus completely eliminated the need for long incubation periods or constant organ transplants, while still maintaining the advantages of controlled mutation. After this breakthrough, Carla aimed to push her research even further by combining T02 with the G virus, found in Sherry Birkin's body. The final result was the C virus, which, according to the timeline, appeared later in the events of Resident Evil 6. This way, the genetic lineage of T-Veronica continued and served as a foundation for even more powerful strains. In 2002, the effects of T-Veronica continued to be seen in South America. Javier Hidalgo, a powerful drug lord and leader of the organization known as Sacred Snakes, was desperately searching for a way to save his family. Previously, Javier had used the standard T-virus to treat his wife Hilda's terminal illness. but the treatment ended up mutating her into a grotesque amphibious creature with violent instincts. When he saw that his daughter Manuela was suffering from the same genetic illness, Javier contacted Wesker, who sold him samples of the T-Veronica virus in exchange for large sums of money and favors. Javier injected Manuela with the virus. To prevent her from degenerating like her mother, he devised a gruesome plan: to keep the virus under control by constantly reinfecting her through organ transplants. To do this, he kidnapped young girls around Manuela's age to harvest their organs and prolong her life, keeping the virus in a semi-dormant state. The situation caught the attention of the US government, which sent Leon S. Kennedy and Jack Krauser to investigate the presence of bioorganic weapons in Javier's territory. They arrived at a village devastated by viral outbreaks, where they met the young Manuela. Although she was infected with T-Veronica, Manuela retained her human appearance and remained relatively stable thanks to the transplants orchestrated by her father. Eventually, the agents uncovered the whole truth. Javier not only kept Hilda confined, but also possessed a giant plant known as the Veronica plant. This plant fed on the T-Veronica virus and dominated part of the jungle's ecosystem. Feeling cornered, Javier ended up merging with this plant, now known as V-complex, in a desperate attempt to stop Leon and Krauser. However, in his mutated form, he couldn't maintain his consciousness for long, unlike the control that Alexia had shown, and he ended up begging to be killed to end his own suffering. During these events, Manuela's flammable blood ability became evident. Just like Alexia, her blood could turn into a deadly fuel when exposed to oxygen. She used this ability to burn the massive body of the V-complex, saving the agents. Despite losing a lot of blood, Manuela survived, proving that the T-Veronica virus can coexist with a human if the infection rate is kept under strict control. Returning to the main storyline, the scientist Carla Radames, who worked for the family and later led the terrorist group Neo Umbrella, used the knowledge gained from the T-Veronica virus to create the C virus. As I explained earlier, this fusion combined T02 in the G virus, creating a pathogen capable of causing massive intelligent mutations in those infected without long incubation periods. Although these mutations did not exactly replicate the flammable blood, in many cases the infected would overheat and burst into flames upon death, a subtle nod to certain aspects of T-Veronica. This confirmed that the genetic history of this virus branched out significantly within the Resident Evil universe, influencing all sorts of later bioorganic weapons. What are the main traits of the T-Veronica virus? One of the most fascinating aspects of the T-Veronica virus is its unique features, which are quite different from the original T-virus and the G-virus. Although it was not spread on a large scale like other strains, it did appear at crucial moments. Alexia's main goal when creating T-Veronica was to allow the infected person to keep their cognitive functions intact. Other variants of the T-virus and the Progenitor Virus, like the ones that created classic zombies or tyrants, caused severe brain damage. In contrast, under the right conditions, T-Veronica allowed the mind to remain intact and even enhanced it, as long as the infection progressed very slowly. Another distinctive trait of T-Veronica, inspired by the queen ants that fascinated Alexia, is its tendency to manifest entomological qualities. This means insect-like features such as chitinous exoskeletons and the growth of additional limbs resembling insect legs, combined with certain plant-like characteristics. In Alexia's case, we saw several stages of this transformation. First, in her humanoid form, she maintained a vaguely human appearance, but with gray skin, dark veins, and the ability to ignite her own blood. Then she evolved into her chrysalis form, where she fused with large masses of tissue, resembling an ant colony. Finally, she reached her final insect form, transforming into a gigantic winged creature, similar to a giant dragonfly. One of the peculiarities of T-Veronica is its high sensitivity to environmental conditions. In the Antarctic Base, the extreme cold prevented the virus from spreading widely in the surroundings, while in the warm regions of South America, the mutations grew to massive levels. Also, the essential factor for the virus's stability is the speed at which it spreads through the body. Alexia slowed down the infection by drastically reducing her metabolism through cryogenics, while Javier controlled it in Manuela by constantly transplanting organs. This forced the virus to reinfect new tissues without progressing out of control. It's important to mention that before T-Veronica, Umbrella experimented with several other variants like the Key JCCC203, which was meant to fight cancer. This experiment aimed to destroy malignant cells through viral infection, but it also resulted in failures and monstrous transformations. This theme of viruses intended for human health is repeated with Javier Hidalgo, who bought his first T-virus sample, hoping to cure Hilda, only to watch her turn into a terrifying aquatic creature. Given all this, the T-Veronica virus can be considered a milestone in the research of bioorganic weapons in Resident Evil. It may not be as famous as the T or G viruses, but its significance is crucial for several reasons. It provides a pathway to rational mutation. Although dangerous, it's a virus that, with proper preparation, can preserve intelligence. This makes it different from most other strains, where sanity is almost always lost, except in rare cases like certain tyrants or Albert Wesker, who injected himself with the prototype virus. It generates drastic physical changes. Its properties combine insectoid features with plant-like abilities, creating truly unique forms. It connects to future developments. The T02 and C virus are proof of T-Veronica's importance as a stepping stone that allowed Carla Radames to rewrite viral evolution to create super soldiers or more intelligent bioorganic weapons, such as the Ustanak. In conclusion, the T-Veronica virus has earned a special place within the Resident Evil canon. It's a strain with fascinating potential, a background of cruel experimentation, and a range of mutations that blend elegance, horror, and twisted science. It also adds a unique dynamic to the series' mythology. Instead of repeating the classic, mindless zombie monster, T-Veronica introduces enemies with high intelligence and powerful abilities. With nothing more to say, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your comments, and if you want to support the channel, give it a like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss my next video. See you in the next one. Hey, don't go just yet. If you enjoyed my video, I'd love to recommend another one for you to watch.